You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. Once again, we are here today, and just like any other time, we have a special guest. Today, we have a true honor talking to Kaili Worthy. She is going to share with us not just her industry of TV, movies, all that stuff. She's a whiz when it comes to that stuff, but she also is an author. And we're going to learn more about all the amazing books she has written. She has not just written one, she has written many books. So this is someone who's like a heavyweight champ. She knows what she's doing, and she's here to pay it forward for our audience. So first and foremost, Kay, I just want to say thank you for taking time, clearing your calendar. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. The Dodger parade is going.
Oh, you're going to be one of those. All right. So you from, you're a Dodger fan, or you from Los Angeles, or both?
Yes. Hollywood, Los Angeles.
I love that. Okay. So congratulations to Dodgers fans. I'm sure that was a nice payback from what happened with Mookie, and the people in the stands were kind of going a little crazy, but he got payback. There you go. Once again, we are here talking about another amazing success story, because you have a story that it plays before you wrote books. So kind of share with us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I got a degree in communications, radio, TV, film, and a master's in business. And I was working in Hollywood. I worked in Hollywood for about 3 decades, and from screenwriting, directing shorts, working with some of the top people in the industry. Lou Wasserman, if you know who he was instrumental in crafting the industry with innovation, and he was an agent originally for people like Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Stewart. And I worked with him for about 10 years, and he was a fantastic mentor and man. And then I ended up at DreamWorks, which is Jeffrey Katzenberg, David Geffen at the time, and Steven Spielberg, and worked there and helped write, did some shorts and directed, written, and produced shorts. We had film festivals and things like that at the studio, and I had a first and last, which means you get to write. If you write a screenplay, you submit it to them first, and if they want to bid on it, they will. Or if you go outside of that and someone else bids on it, they get a last. So they get to bid on it again. However, my books, which we will talk about later, are strong female intelligent characters, and I was repeatedly told that female characters aren't marketable. So that's why I took the leap.
I love that. And people are listening to this and watching this on YouTube. You can go visit her website, kailioliver.com. Before we get into books real fast, let's talk a little bit about just the rich experience that you just kind of displayed for us. One, that is awesome. That's like a wild dream for someone who might be an amateur and they want to get into what you were able to experience. Kind of share with the audience a little bit the wisdom and just some of the things you were able to learn along the way as you were a part of these great platforms.
Absolutely. If you're somebody who's interested in getting into Hollywood, a degree helps you, but definitely allows you to get into some organizations that you otherwise wouldn't get into, such as I think Motion Picture and the Television Academy have student programs. That's a great way to get in. Network. I know we like to stay home on a Friday night, but if there's a good gig going on and you're invited to it and it has to do with Hollywood and the entertainment industry, go. I used to drive 2 hours one way to go to events and network and meet people. And a lot of those people are probably doing the same thing you are. And one person might know of an opening or something, and another, or you might, and you help someone, and you build that friendship as you go along in your career. So that is always great. If you are making short films or TikTok and doing short films, submit them to short film festivals. There's a million of them. Make sure that what you're submitting catches their eye. You do something different. Don't be just like a normal submitter, because a lot of things, just get passed by. You have to make sure that you're different, and, that you do something to bring their attention to your film. So those are the main things. And then once you get in, learn as much as you can. I learned everything that I could. I learned about what happens before, during, after. And, I was very useful in many areas in many ways. I didn't just stick to one thing that I loved, and I loved video editing. But, I found that I went up the ladder with solidness because there was nothing shaky about, being in one little facet. So you learn everything. Volunteer, take things on if you can, because unions play a part of that if you're in a union situation. But, do independent films. A lot of people, like myself, would do independent films, and I couldn't pay you much, but you got credits on your resume. So, do what you can. If you truly love and this is your passion, that's what I tell you to do.
You dropping some knowledge right now. I really appreciate this. This is like an exclusive free masterclass that people very take advantage of. So I want to dig even deeper when it comes to, because you mentioned about TikTok and just creators out there who are either filming things or they're creating things, and maybe they have a team or they're solo. Kind of break it down a little bit further as far as like someone like yourself who's been in the industry. What are some of the things that they're kind of watching maybe on social media as far as the creatives that, or are they watching, or do they have a team of people that are watching social media to see maybe that raw talent of an editor, videographer, or writer?
I don't think that the mainstream Hollywood is searching for talent. They, as you know, a lot of things are remakes. A lot of things are people working together again in the same team and tend to trust the people they know. You have to stand out some way. Your TikTok, your short, that's where the short film festivals come in. That's where you can get additional exposure, do your own media, for your TikToks. Years ago, you couldn't there was no TikTok, and phones they were regular phones. They didn't have cameras on phones. Yeah. So getting into Hollywood was harder in that sense. But at the same time, everybody can do a TikTok, learn how to edit and do it all from their home. And that creates more competition, right, out there. So creativity is something, and then sharing it and reaching out to those decision makers. Like if you go to a function that you've joined and there's someone there, make sure to say, hi, hey, can I reach out to you or ask for informational interviews. Those are great. I'd just love to sit down with you, talk to you. I want to learn more about Hollywood. Everybody wants to talk about themselves. So, I had several of those kind of interviews when I was looking at shifting jobs within Hollywood, and reached out to people that I had met at events and said, can I come in and just talk with you? And that led to another job. So that's always, if you can't get in the front door, use a window, use the chimney, get in some other way.
Once again, listening to Refocus Radio and watching us on YouTube. We're talking to our guest today, K.A. Oliver. You go to her website, kaoliver.com. We will get her book real quick, but I'm trying to do justice for all the aspiring film directors and writers out there. For those who are they're actually semi-professional or pros at this, but maybe they hit plateau. Maybe they went through the whole school process and they graduated and all that good stuff. And maybe they might be even have some great things on the resume and portfolio. What would you say based on your polished just background, being in the industry and being an insider? What are some of the things that they can do to kind of break through that place where they feel like they just kind of plateau and they're just not feeling that flame that they used to have?
They got to get that flame back. Don't let your dreams fizzle out. Believe in yourself and trust in yourself and keep moving forward. Even if you get, they normally say you get 9 no's and the 10th one's a yes. Yeah. You just need to keep going, because If it's a no, it just means now you know not to bother that person. Move on to someone else. Keep trying. Keep going. You'll find the right fit. Make sure what you're sending to somebody is the right fit. Do they make that kind of movie? I remember talking to Jackie Chan, and I had a small short drama I wanted to do. And I talked to him about doing a drama film because that's what he wanted to do. And had his schedule be looser, I would have shot a drama film with him in it so that he could show studios that he could do drama. Find out that information, right? That would have, not only would the film have taken off because Jackie Chan was in it, but he would have used it because he wanted to do drama. And he kind of left Hollywood because of that, because they kept putting him into the same role, and he wanted to branch out. So, if you find out something like that and that's your genre, that's something that you want to do, hit somebody up for it, because that's a great way for them to show their talent as well. So think outside the box. Think creatively. All solutions, any problem in life, you sit down and creatively think, you'll solve it. So just, no matter what it is, finances or anything, creatively think, try to learn about somebody. If you admire somebody, and I do admire Jackie Chan, if you admire somebody, find out what they're into, what they're interested in. Maybe you'll read an article somewhere about, one day I'd like to make this kind of film. And you're like, let me see if I can, help swing that and approach them on it. So, it's research. Yes, research. But you know what? You're getting somewhere with that research, and you're learning more when you research. So you never know, because when you get the opportunity to talk to somebody, you want 2 or 3 ideas. You want to present the idea you want to present. But whenever you get the 5 minutes with somebody in an elevator, right? They call them elevator pitches for a reason. Have a couple of other things in your back pocket, because if they go, well, I'm not interested in a romance, but I'm more looking for Westerns. Well, funny that you mentioned that, because I also have, right? I have a comedy, I have a drama, So always make sure that you have other ideas in your back pocket when you get that chance to meet with somebody.
And one more question before we make the segue to your books. My last question would be for those, you kind of touched on collaboration, but when it comes to like the indie world, you can educate me and the audience on that. But how does that work based on what you've seen too, maybe seeing indie professionals outside maybe the system, maybe collaborating together? How would you share your wisdom on that?
Well, I love doing indie stuff, actually, because you have less influence from the executives and everybody in the industry when you're doing that. But you can reach out. A lot of indie people, there's indie websites looking for people to participate in their films or TV shows that they do. There are some, out here anyway in LA, I'm sure in New York and some other cities, they have ads. They put out ads saying, I'm looking for a, assistant director. I'm looking for a cameraman, I'm looking for. And the other thing is I, as an indie producer, would reach out to colleges and I would say, I'm making an independent film. Can you put a flyer on your bulletin board and have them reach out? Because you get extra as an indie producer. A lot of students can get cheaper insurance for the film, cheaper camera rentals and stuff like that. So it behooves you, and they get the experience and the credit. So look at all different places to see what you can do. But if you've not in the industry, an indie film's is an easier way to go.
Once again, you're listening and watching on Refocus Radio and talking to our guest today, K.A. Oliver. Go to our website, kaoliver.com. And without further ado, let's segue into your books, because you have many books that you've written, not just one. Kind of remind the audience the story behind, you said earlier in the interview how you wanted to focus on women characters. So kind of touch on the inspiration behind that.
Absolutely. So when I realized that my screenplays weren't going to get any mileage at this time, maybe the future will be different, I decided that I would take the leap and trust myself in writing my first novel, which was called Disturbed Tombs. And it came from a question: why do we excavate all of the mummies we find in Sudan, in Egypt, and our graveyards are sacred? Are we disturbing their peace? So I wrote a fiction novel exploring that idea, and it won 4 awards. So I knew I was on the right track. The lead character is a strong female character, intelligent. She is an archaeologist, and they make this discovery to be able to speak to spirits when they have their mummy on a different level than a paranormal investigation. So I started there, and then I just loved it. I loved the ability to write and continue writing books. I wrote Road to Elysium. That one won 10 awards. This one, based on an actual event, so it's inspired by a true event. That one is a little different because the lead is a male character, but it had to be because of the situation. But it explores the loss of hope and how one knee-jerk reaction to a question changed his life and several other people's lives for the positive. So, Elysium is paradise, so Road to Paradise. So that one won 10 awards by itself. So that one's being shopped for a movie. Funny enough, right?
Congrats on that.
So, yeah, and then I have Cozy Mysteries, which are really hard-boiled mysteries because I'm not a sappy writer. I like to write real life. I like to write action and adventure. Those are the books I like to read. And so I have the other ones that are cozy mysteries with murder, solving murders, and the murderer's still alive. And one in particular, a woman inherits a house and finds a confession letter of a serial killer in 1909 no one even knew he was a serial killer. And they thought all the women were just missing back then because they didn't have the technology of today. And she goes to find, where the women are and who did he kill and how did he kill them. And, so that kind of deep, thought. And I really like strong, independent characters for both the male and the female, both with flaws, both work through your issues while, discovering or solving a mystery. So I like that.
When I listen to you speak on your books, it's not like just someone who just like randomly writes something. Like you have this rich experience of TV, film, degrees, MBA in business. You have all these like ingredients that kind of it funnels into your book projects. For the audience, kind of touch on how that rich experience has maybe enhanced how you develop these characters.
Absolutely. Well, both are forms of storytelling, obviously. One is a visual form. So, if you want to, say something about a character, the way that in film, the way they dress, how they move, what they enjoy as their hobbies within your book describes more, or in the film describes who they are, right? If you want to show that someone's really mean, you see, up front at the beginning of the movie, you'll see them kill somebody for a little cause. In the books, you have to write about all that. You have to write about what they're wearing. You have to write about their emotions and their feelings and how callous they are if you're writing about someone who's, a mass murderer. And so you write more of the description and everything in a book. Now, Steven Spielberg, who I worked for as well, he likes to take a laugh into a cry, a scream, or a scream into a laugh. And so in my books, I don't foreshadow much either because I don't like foreshadowing. Because I myself, as someone who's working in the industry, watch a foreshadow and go, okay, I already know what the movie's about, So you might be reading something and you think something's going on and then all of a sudden, snap, the next line says something hilarious, right? And you go, oh, I was thinking this, and I love doing that. So I love putting humor in my books in places where you might not think humor would go in a mystery when you're being chased by a murderer. But things in real life happen that way. So I do include that in my writing. And that also comes from movies because the number of clips you see somebody's done something ad lib and it stays in the movie. Right? It's something very human that they do. You know, the famous one where Indiana Jones pulls out his gun and shoots the guy who has the knife, which was ad lib. So those kind of things need to go into my stories.
When you are in the process of putting your book together, just any book that comes to your mind, how much of a balance do you have for setting the foundation, like maybe the technical things, versus the freedom of the creativity side?
I'm on the freedom creativity side. I don't plot anything out. That's what they ask you. Are you a plotter? No. But see, I can see it in my head, and I don't know if that's Hollywood. I can see the whole story in my head, so I just start writing. I give writing tips on my website, and they're free. So anybody who wants to go learn about, you know, the way my style of writing and my voice, they can go there. But I just start writing. And the hardest thing for me to learn at that point was not to worry about errors, because there's people who want it perfect the first time they write. Don't do that. Your creativity is gone if you do that. And I just write, and then when I give it to my editor, you know, great novels are made in the edit stage, not in first drafts, second drafts, or third drafts. I'm just telling you, it's made in the edit stage. Same thing with the film. Film is not put together until it's in the edit stage, and the tone of the film is the music behind it, edit stage. You know, so that's where the books also come together, and they're similar in that way.
I think
how you put the images together when you're editing. If you do a 2-shot and then a 1-shot and a close-up of an expression, that gives you the tone of the film.
I think you just gave us a lot of secret sauce right there. And if I was pursuing film, I'm definitely going to bookmark this episode and listen to it over again, because for someone, like I said, I can't stress this enough, for someone who actually been inside the industry and being able to be around great minds, I mean, how much of that do you believe has played a role in not just the success of the awards your book has received, but also the recognition of you being able to get the word out and using platforms to tell your story?
A lot, because I wanted to learn. So, I mean, you can go in the industry and never learn if you're not open to learning or analyzing what works and doesn't work. Which is something we should always do in our lives anyway, but I wanted to learn. And so I would speak to people and ask them questions and, you know, say, hey, you know, I'm really interested in this. What do you think? And people would, you know, talk with me, and I'd have lunches with people. Some top producers, I would go to lunch, and I had one great friend who turned to me and said, my parents still don't think I have a job. And he was like 50 years old on a #1 rated television show, and he was a producer, you know, and he's like, my parents keep saying, when am I going to get a real job? And it's work. So, you know, it is still a profession. It is still a working job. And like any job, you need to learn, you know, that's why I say, grab those opportunities, help someone do something. Don't just stand there and watch them do it. Say, how can I help? What can I do? And that also builds a trust. So that is definitely something I did. And one of my first jobs came from an opportunity where a friend invited, I think there was 7 or 8 of us standing there, and says, hey, I know of an opening at a TV station. And out of all of those people, because it was LA and I was down in Orange County, I was the only one who said, I'd like to know about it. And I made the drive, and I did the extra work. And, you know, so that was my sneak in the door. But, you know, what were those other people thinking who didn't say, let me try for it as well? Because he told me years later that, you know, you're the only one that came forward. And I was shocked, because I would think that would be a natural thing. But, you know, I guess they didn't want it bad enough. That's the way I look at it.
Been listening to Refocus Radio, watching us on YouTube, talking to our guest today, Kaili Oliver. Go to her website, super easy, kaoliver.com. See all her books and book trailers and about and resources. You said that you have some tips that people can see, too, on your website. Explain a little bit before we sign off. What's some of the things that you feel people gravitate towards more as far as your tips?
Yeah, my tips are for writing tips. Most often, I talk about how to get started writing, what you should do, how you should do 15 minutes a day, etc. Things for writer's block. Don't end on the end of a chapter and say, tomorrow I'll pick up and start chapter 7. Never finish a chapter. Don't start there, because now you have to rethink everything. It's like rewriting a first page. Just write, and then leave it open. Even maybe not even finish a sentence when you stop for the day, because you'll go back and read it. You'll get that line of thought back in your mind, and you'll continue writing it. Right? You'll automatically pick up. How to create your characters. I cheat a little bit. All of my friends, I started using their first name and asked them, what last name do you want for a character in the book? And this is what she or he is going to be. And I have a built character. I know their background. I know their heritage. I know their lifestyle. I know their quirks. I know their favorite foods. And I don't have to sit there and try to figure out a character that I don't feel familiar with. I'm very familiar with them. I talk about copywriting. I talk about, the legal aspect of too many people think that if you just put a copyright on it and you send it out somewhere that you're good and covered. For $65, Library of Congress, copyright your material. It takes you 10 minutes, so you can do it all online. So all of those kind of tips about writing, anything, book covers, everything. And it's all free. So I like to give stuff out, because if you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach.
Wow. Well, you need to go to kaoliver.com as soon as this episode is over with, so that way if you want to improve your style, or at least learn from someone who's been inside the industry, and it's free. Come on. Like, how many things you get free nowadays are actually quality? So you're getting something that's probably worth a lot of money. So you want to head over to kaoliver.com. Like always, been great chat with Kay. I want to say thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. It's been an honor to be here.